Hi all, and welcome to the session building products for the sports industry. And we have with us today Abhishek Desai, co-founder of CricHeros, with us. Thanks, Abhishek, for joining the session. Abhishek has been an entrepreneur since, as in he has earlier ventures also. So Abhishek, I'll just open the floor to you, and just maybe you can elaborate on your journey so far, and starting off on Quick Heroes also. You can just
Sure,
share
sure,
us regarding that.
sure. Thank you, Amey. Thank you for inviting. It's pleasure to be here. So, if I have to tell something about my journey, I am a computer engineer by trade. So, I did my engineering from Nirma Institute, Gujarat University in Ahmedabad. And after that, along with three of my classmates and friends, I started a company called DigiCorp in Ahmedabad only. It was a software design and development studio. So originally the idea was to build some products of our own, but very soon, it became a services company because we got a huge contract from the US based healthcare clinics. And, we started developing electronic medical records system for the US market. We ourselves were programmers. We hired four more people from our class, and that's how the journey of DigiCorp started. Over the period of time, we came out of our day-to-day roles of programmers and started handling other aspects of business like business development, sales, marketing, etc. And we grew the business to about $1 million in revenue and more than 100 people company. And over the period of journey of DigiCorp, we actually were fortunate to interact with a lot of startup founders. So, like because we were a services firm, a lot of startup founders came to us with an idea and some capital, and we helped them create first version of the product. And in some cases, the product also scaled, and like some of them also got an exit. So basically, this gave us a lot of exposure to the entire startup ecosystem, how it works, and how the products are built and how the entire journey is traversed. Before, like the startup world was cool. So all of this is like before 2009. So, in 2008 till 2007, 8, in like first 4, 5 years of Digicorp, we got a lot of such opportunities. So we tried our hands on, like building our own ideas, building our own products, because, that's what the real itch was. Like even though the services business was doing good, we were not satisfied at some level because, like whatever we were building for our clients. We did not own the IP. And, we did not have a control beyond a certain point on the product. So we wanted to create our own IP, which is completely developed and grown by us as an entity. We tried our hands multiple times, but we could not scale any of those ideas, mostly because like we were treating those ideas as side projects. Because Digicorp was like our main business. We like we were not giving full focus or full attention to these ideas we were working on. Some of those ideas were really really good. uh, so like when we decided to change it once again in 2016, I came out of Digicorp's day-to-day role and started focusing on those ideas full time. Right? And I started working on three ideas, and one of the ideas was CricHeros. So the idea of CricHeros came as a solution to our own pain points as cricketers. So just like millions of cricketers in India, I used to play cricket every weekend with my friends, and have had been doing it for like almost 10 years back then. And like as you probably know, after every game there will always be some discussion about the game, right? Who played well, who did not play well, why did we lose the match, what to do to win the next match, etc., etc. And all those discussions will happen without any data, because either those matches are not scored or they are scored on paper-based score sheet. So I realized this is a problem for us, and I realized that it's a problem for a lot of cricketers like me, because I also did a little survey in my vicinity and figured that most of the matches are getting scored, but they're getting scored on paper-based score sheet. And like people are not getting any meaningful insights from those paper-based score sheets. So they are also facing the same issue as me, as cricketers. So I thought that, since I was already looking for an idea to work on, I thought, like, why don't I give this a shot? I created a small business plan and figured that, if we can scale the business to a certain point, we should be able to, like make a meaningful business and solve a lot of pain points for cricketers like me. So I pitched the idea in front of my friends and family and was able to raise a small seed round from them. We, as founders of Digicorp, we also put in our own money, and that's how the journey of CricHero started. So in July 2016, we registered the company, and in October 2016, we launched the first version of the product. So that's how the journey of CricHeros started.
Yeah, yes. So that's an interesting journey. And from your personal experiences that you went on to start Greek Heroes, yeah, yeah. So, if you can, Abhishek, just speaking on from there, what were the initial challenges that you faced while setting up Greek Heroes, and how was the journey when you had this idea and then you started with it? So, if you can just elaborate on it further, as in the initial journey with Greek Heroes.
Yeah, sure, sure. No, so I mean, initial journey was like full of uncertainty and excitement, right? So when we launched Crick Heroes, like we had a very basic solution where people can score their matches, and even the scorecards were not available on the app. For viewing the scores, they had to go to the website, on a special link, right? So, it was a very bare minimum viable product which we had created. We started scoring with that product. So we ourselves went to grounds, my co-founder Meet, who joined us very early in the journey. He who used to play for Gujarat before he joined Crick Heroes. So with his connections, we got our first tournament, which was Gujarat University Inter-College Tournament, to score as Crick Heroes, and we ourselves went as scorers for the matches of those tournament, and we also hired a couple of other guys who helped us in scoring. So it gave us a lot of exposure, and I mean, we were on the ground, so we were actually talking to cricketers and like figuring out how is their feedback, how they are taking this new product, etc., etc., what are the pain points. So we started like adopting those pain points and started evolving the product. Very soon we realized that initially we had thought that we'll build the product for weekend cricketers or a casual cricket or individual matches, but the market for tournament is very, very big, right? So very soon we started getting requests that, hey, I want to organize this tournament, how can I do that on Quick Heroes, right? So we started incorporating modules related to tournament. Then we started approaching associations, like because of Meet's contact, he was already playing for Gujarat Cricket Association. So we approached them and we realized that for association we'll need multi-inning scoring, basically something like test match, right? So which was not there. So then we turned our focus on doing that. Initially we were only focusing on Android, but we also started getting a lot of inquiries for iPhone scoring and iPhone app. So then after a few months we started working on the iPhone app also. So basically, like we started evolving very, very organically, and a lot of things which we had not realized during the first phase, we had to incorporate, like immediately. There were no proper plans for it. So like this, and obviously capital was always a challenge. Like we quickly ran out of the money which we had raised, but we were fortunate to convince one another, my friend and an angel investor, to put money in the business. So then we survived for a few more months, and then as soon as those money was about to end, we were able to raise money from somewhere else. So that's how the journey of like uncertainty and like excitement continued.
So, from there, as in when you just started out, how did you gauge about the response? As in, were players using it effectively, and what was it getting fulfilled the need that you set out on? How was the initial feedback with the product?
I think initial feedback was very, very positive. People liked what we had built, and we had kept a cricketer in mind while making the product. Because I was very clear from the beginning that we wanted to create a system which it has to be 10x better than the existing alternatives in the market. So there are already a couple of apps which are there. Obviously, paper-based scoring was our main competition. So we had to make something 10x better than what people were used to. I think more or less we were able to do that, and that's why we also got a lot of organic quick adoption. But I think the for first 1.5 years we did not get like huge traction. I think uh, we crossed about 100,000 users in first 7.5 months. So it's a decent traction, but the actual inflection point came in 2018 when Crick Hero started getting popular in Hyderabad, Bangalore, etc. Right. So after that, actually, we the kind of hockey stick growth we encountered. So yeah, that's how like it has been. And as I said, obviously capital was always a problem. We were not making money at that time, right? So whenever we went to investors, like they said, "Hey, how will you make money?" Then we had to figure out, okay, these are the ways we can make money. But then in some cases we were not big enough to make those kind of pitches, right? So there was always a balancing act between growth and revenue generation during the initial years.
Yeah. One more thing I want to ask was, I said, how do you go about innovation in the product? As you said that it's a journey that as and when you get feedback also from the users and what you think will be more effective. So how do you go about innovation and what is the criteria that you use when you think about introducing new features? As in there might be challenges that whether you should do one thing or the other. So how do you go about that and uh, uh, take it forward from there?
So there are certain innovations which we have to imagine on behalf of our users, and then there are certain innovations which in a way our users pushes us to do. So, for example, I believe live streaming is one thing, which is kind of combination of both. I think we launched live streaming in 2019, and we realized that people have a need of live streaming the match along with live scoring, right? And at the same time, we also were getting some requests from people that what if they want to live stream the match, right? So that's how the innovation of live streaming got done at CricHeros. Having said that, there is another innovation we did, which was purely from our end, like because we realized that this is something which people will would like, which is Crick Insights, which essentially were deep dive into your own performance. It was an analytics module, right? So nobody actually asked us to create that module, right? But we realized that okay, if we can create a module which helps people understand their game better, it might help them become a better cricketer with the help of data, right? So that was one innovation which was purely kind of pursued like and dreamt by CricHeros team, right? So it has been I think it has been a combination of both. Certain innovations we have done from our end by imagining a need for our users, and certain innovations our users have pushed us to do.
Yes, yes, perfect, perfect. So, taking on from there, mentioned about data. So, data has been a buzzword for some time now. So, as in, how do you see the role of data being there and how to use it effectively and in what proportion? And see that there is a balance. Otherwise, it becomes a lot of data, data, data. So, how do you maintain that balance and what do you see the role of data?
No, it's a constant struggle, as you rightly said. There are certain decisions which we have to take now at this scale based on data, right? But at the same time, data cannot replace the intuition of product managers, right? Or I mean, something which we can again imagine on behalf of our users. So I think it has to be a combination of both. That certain things basically you can figure out success or failure of a certain feature when you launch or a certain benefit when you launch with the help of data, whether like it is actually making a difference in people's lives or not, or it is actually achieving the objective for which you launched that particular benefit. But many a times like you have to come up with an idea which is not based on data but which is completely purely based on your intuition, or maybe a combination of intuition and data both. So I think, I mean, there is no silver bullet. There is no one right answer to this question. I think whenever like you are launching something meaningful, something big, ideally it has to be combination of intuition and data, right? In terms of after launch, I believe data plays a major role than intuition, right? That where this particular thing is going.
Right, right, right. Perfect, perfect. So again, after your journey here within India, and you said that you were working with various associations also, and then you moved on to global expansion. Talk us through your journey over that. I think how did you expand globally, and you ventured into new countries. So, what was your thinking, and then what your journey into how was it?
Yeah, so more or less the global expansion also happened organically. Is that like we never actually went out of our way to acquire users outside India. I think UAE became one of the like outside market after India very quickly, because I believe a lot of people traveled from India to UAE, and they must have played in India, and then they took Greek heroes with them to UAE. That was one. Or like people also started sharing their scorecards and their achievements on Greek heroes on their social media, and they must be having friends or their family members in UAE. who adopted CricHeros over there also. So that's how most of the expansion has happened outside India. It's pretty organic. Having said that, in some cases we have also done it deliberately, as in, for example, we have acquired an association or we have approached an association via cold email or cold call or via reference, and then the association became the member of user of CricHeros first, and then like some of the players who play for those associations started using CricHeros in their private leagues also, right? So that kind of expansion has also happened specifically outside the area. But a lot of expansion which we see outside India has been pretty organic.
Yeah. And how do you see, as in, I think you are focusing on USA as well as Africa, and how do you see it over there? What is the
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
like?
No, the lot of ICC is pushing cricket outside India or Indian subcontinent or even cricket playing nations very heavily. So ICC is very bullish on countries like USA, Canada, like even some European nations that we don't have a choice but to take them very seriously. And according to us, USA, Canada, Australia, these are the markets which are going to grow very fast for us as Crick Heroes. So these are the market we are focusing on. UAE is already a great market for us. So we would like to continue our dominance in that market, right? By giving users what they want, and like with a quality product, right? But yeah, apart from that, we are one of the co-founders. Me now works out of Canada. We have one more person in Canada, so we have two guys in North America region, right? So that shows how serious we are for expanding outside India, and we plan to continue doing that in next 2 to 3 years.
Also, I like to request speakers, if you have any questions, we'll surely have a Q&A at the end of the session, but you can also type in your chat and we'll address it later also. So yeah, that's one pointer. Uh, Abhishek, now I wanted to shift focus towards women's cricket, as in you might be noticing it closely through your product. But what are your views on women's cricket, and what specific initiatives have you taken within the product so that women cricketers get a platform on through cricket?
Yeah, yeah. So tennis ball cricket, obviously it's major, it's majority of cricket which gets played on cricket heroes overall. I think it is 60-40, 60% tennis ball cricket, and 40% leather ball cricket. Obviously, overall cricket, the numbers are huge. So any percentage of cricket is very huge. So tennis ball cricket, the kind of innovations which we have done to include tennis ball cricket is, first of all, we had to allow people to play any number of overs matches, right? I mean, you cannot have only, let's say, 20-over matches. Like tennis ball cricketers play 6-over matches, 8-over matches, 10-over, 12-over, etc. Right? Plus, sometimes they also have custom rules. So, for example, let's say in some cases, maybe they consider 2 runs for white ball, or they do not consider runs for white ball at all, right? Even for no ball, right? So those kind of custom rules we had to include specifically for tennis ball cricket. These kind of rules are generally not there in leather ball cricket. Right? That is one. Now, box cricket or tough cricket, as it is known in some regions, it is also coming up very fast, right? So then we had to create faster scoring, because the game is very fast when you play a turf match or a box cricket match, right? So then we had to remove features like wagon wheel or shot selection, etc., to make the scoring faster for those scorers, right? So those kind of optimization we did for like making box cricket scoring better. So yeah, a lot of innovations. In fact, all the leaderboards we show leather ball and tennis ball separately, right? Even all the stats, when you go to a user profile, you see all the stats. So those stats are also segregated by leather ball and tennis ball separately. So basically, like everything is, at least there will be like two filters, couple of filters, which is leather ball and tennis ball of everything we do at Crick Heroes.
Yeah, yeah. Right. And what sort of user base would you as an estimate for women cricketers who are scoring on the app or using Crick Heroes? What sort of percentage do women cricketers comprise?
Women cricketers, right?
Women cricketers.
Yeah, so I think it's always been 90-10. About up to 10% of our user base has been female cricketers, and 90% or slightly above 90% is male cricketers. So that has been the ratio. Having said that, we do see after WPL, specifically, like the first season and the second season now, we have seen pretty good growth in terms of female cricketers coming on the platform and like playing matches. We have also seen a lot of women cricketers, female cricketers playing matches with boys. So, for example, they go to academies. The academy team may not have 11 female cricketers, but it probably will have like 9 male cricketers, and couple of females will also play from the same team, right? So those kind of behavior also we have seen a lot. But we also see a lot of female tournaments specifically organized to attract like that audience. And we also see a lot of people, a lot of women cricketers participating with a like with a coach, and like with proper practice sessions and everything. So definitely the interest in female cricket is growing tremendously since last couple of years.
Uh, Now I
Sorry, I didn't get Amey.
yeah. So I was saying, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So Abhishek, I was asking, what was the scenario like during COVID when playing outside was not easy, and I think playing stopped for some time. So, what was the specific challenges during that time, and how did you tackle it during COVID?
Yeah, I know it was a very tough time, specifically April 2020 and April 2021. I think both for the first wave and the second wave, we saw a tremendous dip in our traffic in April month. I think the lowest we had ever been. So like those were like very pretty difficult months to move forward, because there is no actual cricket happening. Obviously, there is very little utility of CricHeros as an app, right? But fortunately for us, in both 2020 and 2021, we could grow once the wave subsided, or once the like things were relaxed a bit. So we actually came back in following months, June, July, August, after like some of the regions had relaxed rules or relaxed norms. So we grew in both years, 2020 and 2021. But to basically those couple of months, April May in both season, like we had to it was very tough going for us.
I think you would have experienced a sudden upsurge post when the restrictions were just removed in the usage and usage of the app as such.
So,
Because
sorry.
yeah, I was saying that you would have just noticed a sudden upsurge in the usage of the app once the restrictions were removed, and it was
Yes, 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 definitely. So it was definitely a hockey stick, sorry, K-shaped recovery, right, as they call it. Yeah. So we did see K-shaped recovery in our usage actually.
yeah, yeah. And also, so speaking on that lines, how do you tackle seasonality? As in some parts, it rains you during certain months, so then there's no cricket as such played outdoors. So, any specific initiatives you take to engage to keep the users engaged during that time, or it's just the business that is how it is?
No, no, no. We do definitely take different measures to make sure that like people come back on the platform. For example, by focusing more on the engagement features, along with the scoring utility and the league management utility. We also focus on creating features, for which people will come back and use the app. That is one. Second, we are also trying to expand outside India, where let's say monsoon is not. I mean, it's not a defined season like us, right? So then, we keep getting traffic, more traffic from those countries and those regions where monsoon is not very active. Even in India, it's not like monsoon is there everywhere at once, right? It starts from Kerala, and then, it comes towards northern India and all. So, we also see the same trend, as soon as the monsoon comes, the traffic dips. But, wherever there is no monsoon, the cricket still goes on, right? And then, monsoon will come there after a few days, but by that time the monsoon will go away from the southern region, etc. So that way we do see a good traffic from India also, right? But definitely from India it will be 20-30% dip, which we try to recover from outside India.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. So, around it, as in. So in this journey as an and now what you have the usage has been the number of users has grown tremendously. So how do you see it going forward from Abhishek for Crick Heroes? What are your plans
Yes.
for the next 5 years or so?
Yeah, sure, sure. So there are a couple of things which we are very excited about. One is video as a vertical. So like I believe video is going to play a major role in uplifting grassroots cricket and like bridging the gap between grassroots cricket and international cricket. When I say video, it means live streaming the matches, automatic highlight generation, probably automatic pitch map. Like all the kind of interactive elements which we see on normal IPL match telecast or normal international match telecast. All of it is possible at grassroots level also. It is just a matter of time before the technology becomes that cheap to do that. Also, AI and machine learning algorithms are also helping us here a lot, right? So, for example, right now we create automatic highlights from a live stream match once the match is over, and those highlights get attached automatically to your profile, right? Now we are working on a mechanism where we will also be able to see live pitch map and live ball tracking, right, for each individual ball, right? So that. Plus, we are also working on our own camera, which will enable more infrastructure for live streaming, for making live streaming possible, right? So we believe that that camera will be purchased by ground owners, and they will be offer if they will be able to offer live streaming as a service to a lot of cricketers, basically to whoever books grounds to play matches or there, right? So we believe a lot of right now 3 to 6% of matches which get scored on Crick Heroes get live streamed. In Hyderabad, where the ecosystem is slightly more evolved, live streaming ecosystem, the percentage is 15%. So we believe this can also be possible. This is also possible in other metro cities. We just need to enable infrastructure for that, and that's where like our initiatives like camera, we call it capture, will play a role. So that is one. That is the future plan to become a very very heavy video centric company. And second is we are also very excited about our new initiatives, the dressing room, where like we sell cricket apparels right now, personalized cricket apparels based on a lot of data points, which suits cricketers, and which makes their journey as a cricketer better. Right? So we believe we should be able to capture a lot of market from this unorganized sector of cricket apparels, and over the period of time, we will also be able to sell some cricket equipments and soft goods over there, right? So we want to become a trusted brand for everything cricket.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's nice to hear about it, and all the best for your journey ahead, Abhishek. Honestly. Abhishek, one more question I had. So, apart from the cricketers, you also connect the other stakeholders, umpires, commentators,
Yes.
and everyone. Yeah. So, as in that's a great initiative, and how did it come about? And if you can elaborate more on it, it would be
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, so no, see, from day one, when we started Crick Heroes, we always wanted it to be more than a utility, right? Because of my previous experience and because of my exposure to a lot of startups, I realized that there has to be a moat or there has to be a defensibility of a business, right? Only a utility will never have that strong defensibility, right? It has to come with a network effect, right? So from day one, I was very sure that we have to be more than a utility. We have to become a network, and that's why our first tagline was "Your Cricket Network." Crick Heroes, your cricket network. So we were very clear that obviously the first priority is to bring on the cricketers, but at the same time we have to bring on other stakeholders of the game like league organizers, match officials, umpires, scorers, commentators, cricket grounds, cricket academies, live streamers, etc. All of them on the same platform and solve their pain points as well, right? And all of those people have different pain points which we try to solve with the help of our product only, right? So the idea is to keep growing this community. Right now, we must be having anywhere from 500,000 to a million community members who are part of like the grassroots cricket community. The idea is to keep giving them more and more value from the platform, and one of the value is obviously give them more business. Right, that is the number one pain point for them, how to get more business. Second is to give them, to recognize them for their talent, to recognize them for their services, right? So basically to give them status on the platform. The better their status is on the platform, the more business they will get, right? So status and business will go hand in hand. And like try to connect them with each other in a very, very meaningful way. So basically, revenue for them, connecting them with each other and giving them more status is going to be the major are going to be the major objectives for cricket community on Crick Heroes.
So definitely, that's a great initiative. Abhishek. And now I wanted to talk about the revenue generation model as well. It is premium as a model. It's widely accepted, but then getting users to pay for a product, it's quite difficult, specifically in is India scenario. So, what are your views on it, and how did you tackle that challenge?
Yeah, no, it is difficult. You're absolutely right. So, making a subscription revenue is difficult. We have about 80,000, almost 80,000 pro members now, which is 1.5% of our MAU. But we believe, it can be more. It should be around 5%, 7%, even, right? So, obviously, that is one challenge which we are having, and we are trying to figure out a lot of ways to overcome that challenge. The idea is to basically keep adding more and more value to the membership till it becomes a no-brainer to be a CricHeroes Pro user, right? And I believe we should be able to do that over the period of time. So not worried about that, but yes, definitely, it is taking more time than expected. That is one. Obviously, to compensate for for growth over there, we are also coming up with other premium features like live streaming and like whatnot. Like we are selling those features, and obviously the dressing room is also there. So some of the revenue projections are like getting compensated with these additional revenue streams as well, right? So we believe that for next probably 2 to 3 years we will have to rely on a multiple revenue channels to sustain as a business, to grow as a business, and then probably over the period of time we should be able to like figure out the hero revenue channel for us.
Yeah. Mm, that's it from my side, Abhishek. But there are some questions we have in the chat. If I can, I think Apachu had asked one question. Apachu, if you are online and you want to ask it, yeah, you can just come on stage and ask your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Abhishek. Actually, found all the things that you shared very insightful. I have a bunch of questions to ask you. I'll probably start with the first one, which I've captured in the text box, in the chat box. If you could share what a typical work week looked like for you at when you were developing your MVP, once you took it to the market, once, let's say, things became more stabilized, and now in these four phases of Crick Heroes.
Yeah, sure, sure. No, so when we were at the MVP stage, obviously the idea was to build the core module, the core utility as easy as possible, right? Which was the scoring utility. So at that time,
Yes.
focus was very clear that we have to build this in a 10x better way, as I said, right?
Yes.
I was personally involved in creating the blueprint. I was personally involved in designing, developing everything, all those, even testing and all, right? So that was during the MVP. Once the MVP was taken, I was obviously then personally involved in terms of talking to users, getting feedback, like making sure that those feedback gets in, like in the product, implemented in the product, bugs gets ironed out, etc., etc. And obviously, like imagining what people are saying, like without saying, right? So all those things come once the MVP was taken to the market, right?
Mhm.
And after revenues stabilized, or let's say even, I mean, after revenues start coming, you need to figure out how, like, you can add more value to whatever you are selling, right? So that, as I said, again, it becomes a no-brainer for people to buy that thing from you, right? So then your focus shift from there, how to make, like one or two revenue channels bigger. That is one. At the same time, you are also constantly thinking of more revenue opportunities, right, to sustain as a business. So that is after like you start generating revenue. And right now, like my focus is like a lot of it is also on building teams, right?
Mhm.
That like how can we build teams who can, let's say, run this part of the business, right? Are we having like enough people? Do we have the right people on the board? Plus, second thing is how to develop them as leaders, right? So that is also another focus area, which is now actually in the forefront, apart from other challenges we have.
Okay. And how has your core team configuration? How was it at the beginning, and how has it evolved in this time period from 2016 to now?
So initially it was very product heavy team, right? Product heavy, and I say technical team members, right? We were only like I was the product manager, and my co-founder Meet was there who came up with an industry knowledge, and then rest of them were like either developers, designers, right? So this was like the team combination during MVP or even MVP was launched phase, right? But now like we have a team who is focused on, let's say one team is focused on acquisition to acquire more cricket, one team is focused on support. Then one team is focused on outside India development. One team is focused on improving the pro membership. One team is focused on TDR, the dressing room, right? So basically, a lot of teams have a lot of specific roles in the organization now.
Okay. I have a few more questions, but I'll open the floor to others in case somebody else would like to ask.
Yeah.
Yes, Karamveer, we are not able to hear you. I think probably he's facing some issue with his microphone.
Yeah, you can type in the chat
Yeah,
also.
Karamveer, you can
We
type
took
your
the
question in the chat.
yeah. Meanwhile, Apache, if you want to go ahead, you can continue.
Sure. Thanks, Amey. Abhishek, my next question for you is, you mentioned at the beginning that it was an idea that or a problem that you faced, and then you spend some time in validating it by speaking to people in your immediate vicinity, and then built a B plan, and
Correct.
then moved into product development. Can you elaborate a bit on that particular period of time? How much time would you advise product future product developers to spend there? How important is that? What is the process?
So I spent, to be honest, very minimal time doing that because, like I realized that, these are my own pain point, and I knew for sure that there are like a lot of cricketers like me, right? So that way, pain point was very obvious, and even the
Mhm.
audience, the size of the audience or size of the market was also very obvious. Having said that, I did a survey in my city and, like went to grounds where a lot of matches are getting played in parallel on Sundays generally. And, like saw how people are playing them, how people are scoring the matches, talk to scorers, who are actually scoring those matches. In most cases, they were, like the players themselves, right? And, like they will score the match, and then, when their turn comes to bat,
Correct.
they will go and somebody else will replace, right?
Yes.
So I realized, like how the scoring used to happen. It was pretty much similar to, like how we used to do. And
Correct.
also realized that, most 60-70% of the matches are getting scored, but they are getting scored on paper-based score sheet, right? And, which is of no use once the match is over, actually, right? So
Absolutely.
that way I was able to realize the potential of the idea very soon. So then I did not go ahead and do an extensive research. Having said that, every idea is different, every problem is different. So there is no one rule about how to do this. But like if you intuitively know that it's a huge problem and a lot of people are facing it, then maybe you don't need to spend a lot of time in the market. But if you're not sure of the problem, right, and if you don't know how big the market is, then I think you should take as much time as you want to study the market and find the right problem to solve, right? In most cases, I mean, a lot of startups fail in our experience because we have worked with a lot of startups as Digicorp.
As
So
digital, yeah.
from that experience, I'm saying that a lot of people believe that okay, this is something which people want, right? Or this is the problem which exists. But like a lot of time, what you're building is not something people want. Maybe the problem is correct, but maybe the solution is not right. Or in many cases, the problem was not acute enough, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like problem is not there, problem is there, but I mean, it's not acute enough that,
People
your
can live with it.
make a huge impact, right? So those are the ideas also, like it will be very, very difficult to scale those ideas as well.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
Karamveer had a.
yeah.
Yes,
We are just so
scouting and talent
Karanjit is asking
identification.
us.
Yes, yes. So Karambir, there is a very strong use case of this particular problem, talent identification and scouting also. And like I'm happy to say that we have validated it at a large level with Rajasthan Royals last year. So we did a talent hunt program. So Rajasthan Royals did a talent hunt program, nationwide talent hunt, yeah, 2021. They called it Cricket Ka Ticket. So and we were the exclusive registration partner for them. So we onboarded like 65,000 users who submitted their videos to Rajasthan Royals for a selection process, and we enriched that data with CricHeros stats. And based on that, the coaches, the selectors of Rajasthan Royals were able to shortlist about 5 to 6,000 people, and those people were invited for physical trials on in 6 cities. And we also helped Rajasthan Royals in those trials in registration. And out of that, about like 2 3,000 people came, and 22 people got selected finally for a 2 week long program at Rajasthan Royals Academy in Nagpur. And that entire thing was shot and like became a documentary, became a reality show actually, and got broadcasted on Geo Cinema. So we have done similar kind of activity with one IPL team. I believe these kind of activities we will be able to do more in future. We have also had a lot of people come to us and promote them their own talent and program, or their own tournament to find talent and to scout talent. So yes, this is what we think about it.
Thanks, Abhishek, for elaborating on that. So, just final two questions, just your thoughts, as in, what will you advise to budding entrepreneurs, as in, what to think about and how to go about the journey of building?
One advice will be there is no shortcut. So, like if you want to start something specifically in the sports tech segment, it may take a long, long time for like you to become a successful, or you to scale up, not even successful, right? So, you have to have that patience, and you have to have that fire to solve that problem, right? As I said before, finding the right problem is also the key, right? Do not basically assume that, okay, like I have this idea, and now let's start building this. Try to validate it as much as you can. That is second. And there will be a lot of struggle in making money also in sports tech segment, specifically in India. So be ready for that struggle also. So I mean, unless and until you are very, very passionate about the idea and very, very passionate about the sport, it will be very, very difficult to survive in this industry. So, just make sure that, you are the right person for the solution.
Yeah, yeah. I have one last question, as in, what kind of job opportunities do you see in this future, as in the startup as well as generally? Also, and what skill sets do you see will be more relevant into this time with the opportunities?
Yeah, yeah. No, so right now, let's say at CricHeros, we have hired a lot of people with, like simply who are passionate about the sport. Like their education background does not matter. They just have to be passionate about cricket, or probably, even if they have played cricket at some level, it really helps, right? So passion for the game is one. Second, like some communication skills, or some basically interpersonal skills, right? And obviously, if you I mean you need to have a basic understanding of like computers and all that stuff. But like even if you have that, like you should be able to join any sports tech startup in a different roles, like acquisition, sales, business development, marketing, etc., etc. Right? Only people, obviously, for building the product, you need technical people with a proper background and proper experience. But apart from the technical product development role, there are a lot of other roles where no specific technicality is required, right? So that way, I believe there are a lot of opportunities in the market now. As I said, you just have to have passion for the sport, and you just need to have that intensity of solving something for a long, long time. And you need, obviously, you need that rigor, you need that discipline to like wake up every morning and like solve the problem, keep solving the problem till you find the solution, right? So that rigor, that discipline is required. But I believe if you are passionate for any sport, and if you have played any sport, I believe, you already have that rigor and you already have that discipline.
Abhishek.
Sorry, Amey. Yeah, lost you for a while.
Yeah. So thanks, Abhishek, for the advice and insights that you shared. So I'll just confirm any more questions from the audience. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Once again, thanks, Abhishek, for your time, and it was wonderful to have you. And kudos to the team, entire team at CricHeros for building a product that's used by so many users and liked by the community at large, not only in India but worldwide. Thanks.
No, thank you, Amey. Thank you for inviting me. It was great talking to you guys. And thank you, Karam, and thank you, Baju, for joining the call.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Abhishek. It was very
Alright.
nice getting to you.
Okay, thank you.
All the
Thank you.
best to you.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best to you
Thanks.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.